My name is Madeline Wilson, and I'm a pediatric dietitian at Texas Children's Hospital. Today we're here at a grocery store. We're going to be looking at some food labels, looking for food allergens. So the FDA is the government body that regulates how a food allergen is labeled on a food label. And there's three ways that can happen. The first is if the ingredients list contains the actual allergen word. For example, milk, egg, wheat, something like that. The second way would be if it's not listed in the ingredients list, is down at the bottom in bold, it will say contains milk, contains egg, whatever the allergen might be. The third way would be if the ingredients list does in fact list the allergen, but it's not very obvious. So for example, let's say the product contains milk, but instead of saying milk, they say casein. That's a milk protein. So they would say in ingredients list, casein, and then in parentheses it would say milk, so that it's very clear to the audience that it contains whatever allergen it is. Now there are 8 allergens that are going to be labeled or that are included in this labeling law. They are milk, egg, wheat, soy, fish, shellfish, peanuts, and tree nuts. So those 8 allergens are either going to be listed in the ingredients list, down at the bottom in bold, or in parentheses after whatever word that also includes those allergens. So we have some food products here that we're going to take a look at and look at the food label and see if we can find the allergen. So the first one's obvious, right? So milk. In the ingredients list, it says milk. We know it's milk. It contains milk. Easy. Second one is pasta. So if we're worried about wheat, then we might think this is obvious, right? Pasta, wheat. However, let's say we're worried about egg. Okay, so we might want to be a little bit more careful. We want to read every food label of every food product. That's what I always tell my parents to do, and make sure that it does not contain their child's food allergen. So we look on here and we're seeing, okay, mushrooms, cheese, and then in parentheses it says milk. Let's see. And then we've got eggs. Okay, so very clearly it says eggs. We know that it contains eggs. And we can move on. This, even at the bottom, also says contains egg, milk, and wheat ingredients. Okay, so it does both. So we have a little bar here. The flavor is cinnamon white chocolate. Okay, so let's say I'm worried about nuts, but the flavor is not nut containing, so I might say, okay, this might be okay. Well, let's read the label and make sure. Down at the bottom, in bold, contains tree nuts, and specifically almond. Okay, so that might be a product that we need to avoid. Let's do another one. So we have coconut butter. Let's say I'm worried about tree nuts, peanuts, and I want some kind of butter or spread for my child. So I see coconut butter, that looks good. I read the ingredients list and it says 100% raw organic coconut flakes. Awesome. Wonderful. Then I notice this other statement here, and it says crafted in a facility that also handles raw tree nuts and seeds. Okay, well, do I need to keep this away from my kid now because my kid's allergic to tree nuts? Well, that statement is also made in a facility that contains nuts or tree nuts or whatever, is voluntarily put on there by that manufacturer. So that is not required by FDA law. Companies choose to put that on there if they wish. So how do we manage that? What I always tell my parents to do is if they're really concerned about it, is to call the company. There's always a number on the food label you can call. They're required to answer your questions. And you can ask them, is it made on the same machinery? Is it just housed in the same building? How is it that they're made together or in the same facility? And they can let you know. They may say, nope, it's completely separate machinery. They're not touched. So there's very little chances of cross-contamination of, your food allergen getting into that product. They may say, oh, it's made on the same machinery, but they clean it. They make sure it's nice and clean before they process any coconut on there, so that there's less a chance of cross-contamination. And then they may say, oh no, it is made in the same machinery. At the same time, there's a chance of cross-contamination. So if that were the case, then I might avoid that product. But if it was just housed in the same building, made on different machinery, or cleaned in between, that might be a product that I would try. The importance of reading food label is so that we're aware of where our food allergen is, but we don't want to restrict foods unnecessarily. And that's why these tips can be really helpful. There's also great mobile apps out there that you can try. You just have to scan the food item and then it'll pop up if it contains whatever allergens it might contain. And then, of course, there are tons of websites and online resources out there for you to look at and to use. So I encourage you to get out there and to do some research and ask questions.